Hey folks, it's time once again for one of those Star Trek videos that I have put the absolute minimum amount of prep into. That's right, it's not actually Trek actually. And this time, well, we had some kind of big Star Trek related news break recently, didn't we? Yeah, they had a panel at Comic-Con where they debuted a full trailer for the first time for a show that I think a lot of us are anticipating, to say the least. So you know what? I will dispense with any further preliminaries here. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the trailer together. I'm going to pause it every now and then to offer some comments or jokes or observations or what have you. And then after we get through the trailer, I'll come back here and we will discuss what we've just watched and what we're all excited about for Star Trek Picard. So let's watch the trailer first, shall we? All right, now this presumably would be Chateau Picard.
A stranger to yourself?
Many, many times.
All right, now look, that is his communicator. That's his old communicator, or meant to be his old communicator. I think the design is a little bit different than the actual one. But I love that he keeps it in a little box on a table, like a brooch, like one of my grandmother's prized pieces of jewelry that's been handed down to her from generation to generation throughout her family. I'm just so charmed by that.
Nearly 2 decades ago, Commander Data sacrificed.
Data drawer. That's a pun on the title of a first season TNG episode.
His life for me. These past few years, I really tried.
There's the dog. You see, there's number one, which I believe they confirmed at the panel at Comic-Con that the dog's name is number one. He was very prominently featured in the promotional art, and I think that's all we see of him in the trailer, but there he is, just a little overhead shot of Picard and number one walking the vineyard.
But it never truly felt like home.
Do you know who I am? Everything inside of me says that I'm safe with you.
Admiral, I have encountered a woman. She came to me for help. If she is who I think she is.
Now, okay, this makes me wonder, right? She knocks a guy over the railing, so it's going to be a railing kill. But then he's transported away. Now, is that because he's transported away by the ship that he's from? Are his people beaming him away so he's safe? Or is that some kind of newfangled 25th century safety feature? So anybody who falls over the railing, instead of having like a net there or something, they fall over the railing and they're automatically beamed to safety. I don't think that would possibly have anything to do with the story. I just think that would be kind of neat.
She's in serious danger.
Coming in 2020. They said originally it was going to be in late 2019. They have pushed it to early 2020. Hopefully not too much longer, but if it means that they're taking extra time to get it just right, then I don't mind that so much.
Sometimes I worry that you have forgotten who you are.
Captain Picard Day, we all remember that. Okay, I missed the pause. I paused it a little too late, but there was a sign on that guardrail there that said so many days since an assimilation, which I think is, I mean, just judging by what we see in the trailer is kind of a funny joke, but maybe it's an old Borg ship that has been occupied by some other group, and it's been 5,000 some odd days since an assimilation. Also, this is a neat frame that I happened to pause it on. I was a little late. I was going for the assimilation sign, but these uniforms that they're wearing red jumpsuits, and then they also look like they have comm badges. So those are reminiscent of the cadet uniforms that we see cadets wearing in the Kelvin timeline movies. I don't think that means that these are necessarily cadets, although maybe they are, I don't know, but it looks, it just reminds me of that, the very deep red cadet uniforms that we see in the Kelvin timeline films.
We do not.
You can't do it alone. You need help. You need protection. You need a crew.
Now, my first thought was that these folks are Vulcans, but apparently these are Romulans. I didn't assumed that that was the case just from watching the trailer. I assumed they must have been Vulcans, but apparently these folks who look Vulcan are Romulans, which will presumably tie in with the show having a lot to do with the events after Nemesis, and also after the events of the first part of Spock Prime's storyline in the first Kelvinverse Star Trek, because remember the whole thing that kicked off the splinter of the alternate timeline that became the Kelvin timeline movies was that Spock was trying to prevent a supernova from destroying Romulus, and he failed. And in that failure, he was thrown back in time to start the alternate timeline that became the Kelvin timeline. So this Picard show apparently takes place in the Prime timeline after that. So Romulus has presumably been destroyed. So the presence of these Romulans is very significant.
Be the captain they remember. She has no idea what she truly is.
She's the end of all. She's the destroyer.
Now, this Borg cube intrigues me as well because it looks like it suffered some damage. You can see it's missing corners, and it has a whole big section up there in the from our point of view, the upper right corner there, and it looks like it's being closed off with force fields. So this suggests maybe like a Borg cube that has been salvaged, and if these ships that we see flying around here are meant to be Romulan ships, maybe somehow the Romulans have salvaged an old derelict or destroyed Borg cube and have sort of been putting it back together and using it as a base of operations. I mean, if we're gonna start conjecturing on the basis of a trailer, we might as well go for it, right? Okay, here's the big reveal. Well, one of the two big reveals.
Saving the galaxy.
Oh shit, 7 of 9's in it. This was a big surprise to me because obviously they were very, very hush-hush about who other than Patrick Stewart from, established Star Trek properties might be in it. And it feels hugely out of left field that, oh hey, 7 of 9's in it. Shit, how about that? But it makes sense if the story is going to have a lot of Borg stuff in it. It would make sense to have 7 of 9 there. So it's kind of a cool little addition to the show. Not only do we get to catch up with Captain Picard and what he's been doing since Star Trek Nemesis, but we also get to catch up with 7 of 9 and maybe get a glimpse of what the Voyager crew has been up to since they made it back to the Alpha Quadrant. And also, can I just ask, does Jerry Ryan age? I don't think this is a digital de-aging process. I think that's actually how she looks, and that is remarkable. It looks like no time has passed for her between now and the end of Voyager in, what was that, 2001? It's astonishing. She looks just the same as she did when the show was on. So whatever your health and beauty regimen is, Jerry Ryan, it is, you're doing a good job. Don't just say that. And that quick shot that we just got, blink and you'll miss it, of the Borg guy lying on the table with something being removed from him. That apparently is our old buddy Hugh from I, Borg, and he also appeared in the Descent two-parter. So another face from the past.
Engage.
Ah, yes. Here's the second one.
The game to end.
I can see that, Captain.
Oh shit, Data's in it too. I mean, I guess it's not that much of a shock when you saw the dismantled android in the drawer earlier on, but still, it's a little surprising and also very cool to see Data or B4 or whoever that is, a Sung-type android, will be in the series. It's very, very cool. And a couple of friends of mine had some negative things to say about how Brent Spiner looks in this shot, either because of the heavy makeup or because he has been digitally de-aged to put him back in the ballpark of how Data looked the last time we saw him, or how B4 looked the last time we saw him, whoever that is. I think it looks fine. And I would imagine by the time the show is actually done and released, it will probably look even better than that. I don't think it looks that bad. It certainly looks a lot better than the de-aging that they did to Patrick Stewart's face in X-Men Last Stand, which is sort of my reference point for when that is done, and it just does not work at all. I think it looks a lot better than that. But yeah, good for you, Brent Spiner, and we'll be interested to see if that is Data or if that is B4, or if Data has imprinted himself on B4's neural nets, or if that happens throughout the course of the series, because I believe that's how they handled it in the comic books. There have been a handful of comic books published by IDW that have been set, or at least had certain scenes set in the post-Nemesis Prime universe, and apparently, according to the comic books, what they've gone with is Data was able to imprint his personality and his memories on B4's neural net, and so Data was resurrected in that way. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's where this is going. Who knows? But Data's in the fucking thing. All right, then. You know, I think it's a pretty good trailer. I mean, I was excited about the show to begin with. I've been hyped for the show since last year when Patrick Stewart introduced it at, I think it was Star Trek Vegas last year, not Comic-Con, but, so I've been like super excited for it ever since. This is our first glimpse at what the show is going to look like, our first hints at what it's going to be about. So what is it in this trailer that makes me even more excited for Star Trek Picard than I was already? Because it did do that. I am more excited for the show than I was before. So here are a couple of reasons why. First of all, it looks fantastic. It looks as good in terms of production, in terms of cinematography, as Discovery looks. And as you all know, I think Discovery is the best shot, best looking Star Trek series ever. So it's nice to see that level of production carried over into Picard. This isn't just a one-off thing for them. This isn't just like a side project that they're doing to do a bit of fan service and throw us a bone and try to con us into continuing our CBS All Access subscription. Although I do think it is all of those things as well. But this is clearly an A project for the producers. It's not a B project to keep everybody busy while they're preparing the next season of Discovery. This is an A project. It looks fantastic. Who is the girl? That's the big mystery. Who is the girl? Is she some sort of rescued Borg drone? A lot of people have noticed that she has kind of a scar on her forehead. Could that be from a recently removed Borg implant? What do the Romulans have to do with this? If those were indeed Romulans who were living in that reclaimed Borg cube, what's the story there? Why are the Romulans living in a Borg cube? Why is that girl running? Who is she running from? Why did she run to Picard? Who are the people that Picard gathered for his crew? Like, what is his relationship with these people? What's the deal with Data / B4? Is that Data? Is that B4? Does Data have any connection to the Borg and to this mysterious girl? Aha. Because see, there is such a thing. There's a concept in drama called unity. And if Data's there and the Borg are there, chances are those two elements are not completely unrelated to each other. This is a 10-episode series, and this is a big deal. They're bringing back Patrick Stewart to play Captain Picard again for the first time since Nemesis. They're bringing Brack? No, Brack will not be in the show, as far as I know. Maybe they're saving that for the second trailer. They're bringing back Brent Spiner, is what I was trying to say, as Data. And they're also having Borg stuff. The Borg apparently are going to be a major part of the story. 7 of 9 is there. We saw that cube. So is Data related to this mysterious girl who comes to Picard for help and to the Borg? Here's a wacky suggestion that I am just going to make here. And this may turn out to be true. It's actually not that wacky, but it's kind of wacky. What if the girl that comes to Picard is in some way the product of a union between Data and the Borg Queen? Because we know that the Borg Queen made Data part human in First Contact, and we know that they had that kiss and perhaps a little more during the cutaway in First Contact, and they come back and she's like holding Data's hand while he's laying there. What happened during that cutaway? Did something happen that could have resulted in the creation, the conception in some way? Not saying it would be exactly like a human conception, but some kind of conception of a new being, a hybrid of human and android and Borg. that is this person that we see in the trailer. She looks like she would be about the same age. If we're assuming that the passage of time for the characters in the show is roughly the same as the passage of time in real life for us since these films were released. First Contact came out in 1996, so if this comes out in 2020, that's 24 years. The girl who comes to Picard for help looks like she could be early to mid-20s as far as her age. So the age is about right if she is indeed the daughter or the offspring, whatever, of Data and the Borg in some way. So just throwing it out there. If it turns out that I'm completely wrong, hey, it was just a guess. If it turns out that I'm totally right, I want everybody to know I have no inside knowledge about this. There's no way I possibly could know what is in the show before we see the show. I know nothing more about it than you do, but if it turns out that the girl is in some way the offspring of Data and the Borg, then call me a genius. I will claim that title. A brilliant Star Trek related prognosticator. I will be the Punxsutawney Phil of Star Trek TV shows because I guessed that right. I haven't really looked at what other people have said. I'm probably not the first person to suggest that, but if I'm the first person that you have heard suggest that, then I do want credit for it if it turns out to be true. Something else that wasn't in the trailer that to me is just as exciting as anything that was in the trailer, and there were lots of things in the trailer that there are to be excited about. Jonathan Frakes will be making an appearance as Riker, and Marina Sirtis will be making an appearance as Troy. So that's very, very cool as well, especially for me as a Riker mark from way back. I'm very, very excited to see Riker again and to see him having a scene with Captain Picard. Actually, I believe Patrick Stewart gave an interview in the last couple of days where he indicated that today, the day that I am recording this video, not the day that you're watching it, but the day that I'm recording it, is the day that Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes will be filming their first scene together for the show as Picard and Riker. So that's very cool. It makes me feel good as an old Star Trek Next Generation fan to know that there's going to be some fresh Picard Riker stuff in this series and that they're shooting it this very day that I am recording this video. What else? Tone. It's very difficult to judge the tone of a series from the tone of a trailer, and if you have any doubt about that, watch the first trailer for Man of Steel and then watch the fucking horrible movie that Man of Steel turned out to be. Huge tonal difference between the first trailer and the actual movie. So we can't judge tone completely accurately from a trailer. But if the trailer is to be taken as an accurate depiction of the tone of the series, a lot of the concerns from people, a lot of people who are sort of Discovery haters, saying like, oh, they're going to ruin Captain Picard. It's going to be dark and it's going to be angsty and it's going to be grim and it's going to be depressing just like Discovery, which I don't think Discovery is, but people think that. According to that trailer, it's not going to have a dark, depressing, brooding tone. Picard is clearly going through some stuff. He is clearly a man from those shots we see of him where he's sort of gazing up at the stars, and from his voiceover where he says, I've tried to make myself feel at home here, but I've never really felt at peace here. He's clearly a guy who is going through some stuff, who is working through some regrets, who is not in a completely happy place in his life, shall we say, as we find him in this series. But at the same time, it doesn't look like it's going to be a dark show. It doesn't look like it's going to be a depressing show. It looks like there's lots of outdoor shots. Looks like it's going to be in addition to whatever it is as a serious show, it will also have some fun sci-fi Star Trek adventure elements. And I think that's what people are wanting. And also it looks like we might get to see kind of a deeper, more contemplative, more meaningful role for Picard in this series than he really got for the most part in the films. That was, again, something that a lot of us, even those of us who enjoyed the Next Generation films, or at least enjoyed some of them. Like, I thought First Contact was great. You know that I thought Insurrection is highly underrated and a very enjoyable movie. I'm not a big fan of Generations, and I'm not a fan at all of Nemesis. But, you know, I like some of the stuff that they did for the TNG movies, but even I, as someone who has a somewhat positive view of them, I admit that it's not quite the same take on Picard as we got in the TV show, and it would be nice to see a return to that TV show version of Picard, and there are glimpses that might be what we're seeing in this series. So that's exciting too. It's cool to get a little glimpse of the uniforms. the new uniforms. I'm a huge uniform nerd. I haven't really brought that out in the Trek Actually shows up to this point, but I am a huge Star Trek uniform nerd, and seeing the little glimpses of the uniforms that are being worn by Starfleet officers in this era of the show, which I presume would be either extremely late 24th century or early 25th century, depending on exactly how much time has passed. It's cool to see those glimpses of the uniforms. They're kind of like the Deep Space Nine / Voyager jumpsuit uniforms, but with a different collar, and it doesn't look like they have like the zipper up the front, but a similar design with the brightly colored shoulder pads denoting the division colors. So that's cool. Redesigned comm badges, which is also cool. You know, I had a thought when Picard puts on his comm badge in that one shot in the trailer, and I thought, you know, that's his old comm badge. What would that connect to if he slapped that sucker and tried to call somebody? Like, would that, is it still paired to the Enterprise E? Like, if he touched it now, would it, you know, open communications with the Enterprise E, which is probably mothballed in some fleet museum, and there's like a janitor there just sweeping up, and the intercom comes on, and it's Captain Picard from back in the day, and he's like, "Oh, hi, Captain Picard. No, I'm crewman whatever my name is. I'm just cleaning up around here. I'm sorry, I don't know who you're trying to reach. You're going to have to get a new communicator that's not paired to the Enterprise E anymore." And Picard's like an old man now, and he doesn't know how technology works, and he's just like, "Oh, sorry, I'll try again." And then he slaps it again, and it's like, "No, it's still me, the janitor. You're gonna have to use a comm panel or something, sir. I can't help you." "All right, fine." And then it's just 10 episodes of that. I could actually live with that. I would watch 10 episodes of just Patrick Stewart playing doddering old Captain Picard, trying to figure out why his old communicator doesn't work anymore. That would be a show I would embrace wholeheartedly and joyously, and just watch every second of it over and over again for as long as I don't think that's the show we're going to get. It looks like we're going to get a very exciting show with a lot of new characters, a lot of young characters, plus a lot of classic stuff from Picard and Data, 7 of 9, which despite my status as someone who is not the biggest fan of Star Trek Voyager, I was very, very happy and surprised, pleasantly so, to see 7 of 9 in the trailer. I'm very curious to see what role she has in the show. I'm curious to see Riker and Troy, and to see if we get glimpses of any of the other TNG characters. It would be awesome, given their relationship in the show, to see what Dr. Crusher is up to, and to see what her relationship with Jean-Luc has been all these years. Have they kept in touch? Have they stayed friends? You know, it would be nice to see them give Dr. Crusher something to do in the series, other than just have her spout expository dialogue, which is all they really ever gave her to do in the movies. It would be awesome to see Geordi again. You know, LeVar Burton has been kind of coy about it on Twitter. I think they interviewed him about it last week or recently, and he said, "Well, who knows? You might see some classic TNG characters show up on Picard." You know, or I think he said something, "Well, I think it's inevitable that some of us will show up." Geordi wasn't in the trailer either, and he hasn't been confirmed as being in the show, but again, that would also be a very pleasant surprise to see Geordi show up in the show. So a very, very cool trailer. The first trailer, presumably there will be more to come. They have Star Trek Las Vegas coming up here pretty soon. I don't know if it seems a little soon to be releasing another trailer already, because Star Trek Vegas is coming up like real soon. But hopefully, when we get a little closer to the release date, we'll have another trailer, maybe some more details on what the show will be, who some of these characters are, what we can expect the story to be in a very general sense. So yeah, I'm very hyped for this. I'm very excited. I liked what I saw with the Star Trek Picard trailer. What did you all think? Did you think this was exciting? Did this make you want to see the show? If you weren't really excited about it before, are you more excited about it now that you've seen the trailer? Do you wish there had been more of the dog? I kind of wish we'd seen a little bit more of Number One. Number One seems like a cool dog. And I just think it's awesome that Picard has a dog in the show. I'm sure that was Patrick Stewart's contribution. He, a noted animal lover and animal rescuer. I think that's very nice. Maybe it's Picard's way of atoning for keeping that fish captive on the Enterprise all those years. But yeah, what did you think? Did you like the trailer? Are you excited for the show? Are you not excited about it? Why do you hate joy if you're not excited about the show? What is it that makes you just incapable of feeling happiness and joy that you didn't like the trailer? I'm kidding. If you have legitimate reasons for not liking the trailer or not being excited about the show, please feel free to share them with everybody in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the trailer. I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. If you agree or disagree with anything I've had to say, if you share my excitement, if you are completely lost and you don't understand why I'm excited and it seems to you like we watched two completely different trailers, I guess I'll read those comments too. Anyway, that's it. I want to remind everybody that if you like the Star Trek stuff, you can listen to the Ensign's Log, the Star Trek-themed comedy podcast that I co-host along with Jason Harding. Links are in the description. And if you enjoy my Star Trek stuff that I do on this channel, along with all the rest of the stuff that I do on this channel, you can support this channel with a monthly donation to Patreon by going to patreon.com/Steve Shives, a Patreon donation, subscription, whatever you want to call it, patronage of any amount, gives you the ability to vote in polls for upcoming topics of Trek Actually videos. There's a poll up now to select the subject for September. The next proper scripted Trek Actually video comes out in August. It will be about the economics of Star Trek. That's what's coming up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the Picard trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.